Mississippi.
There's that evil red light that goes on when I'm trying to clear my throat. No, I actually got it ahead of time. Welcome to Mary Wieden You. I want to just tell you that this is going to be a great weather weekend to get out there and put that dang pine straw out. Finally got somebody to help me get some pine straw to put in my yard. That's going to be done. And also on Sunday, I'm going to put out outdoor lights. I bought some last year. I bought some LEDs. And I didn't get to use them because I was in the hospital. I was missed the whole holiday period. But anyway, I'm going to get that stuff done this weekend. It'll be a great weather weekend. What time is the game tomorrow? And is it on ABC? Do you know?
Oh, you put me on the spot. I'll get 2 seconds. I'll have
yes,
that for you.
I will. I meant to look that up earlier and
I had
forgot
it.
about
There's
it.
so much information in this noggin. I just can't keep up with it all. Sometimes.
I know it's just a
Ole Miss game is the early game. It's 11 a.m. Mississippi State game is the 3:15.
Well, 11 a.m. Okay, that's on the radio.
Yes.
And here, and then about TV. Is it on ABC?
It is the ABC ESPN Plus game. Yes, it is.
Plus? I mean, can we get it on regular?
Well, you're going to get it on programming for ABC, but if you want to watch it on an app or something, you're going to go to the ESPN Plus.
Okay, but you don't have to pay extra.
I don't know.
I mean, you already pay enough as it is.
You may. If you're wanting to watch it on the ESPN app. But, yeah, you can tune into ABC, and that's going to be the mainstream broadcast.
That'll be exciting. Well, I'm also very happy nationally that Matt Gaetz is gone. You know, there's something about that guy. It's not just a girl thing because they were girls, not women. But there's just something sinister about that guy, and who needs that? Glad he's gone. And Pam Bondi, by the way, don't think that she's some shrinking violet just because she's an attractive blonde-headed woman who looks like she's 25, right? She's 59 years old, and I'd like to know who her injectable professional person is because, man, her face looks fabulous for that. I mean, that's really great. And she has a lot of experience she was Attorney General in Florida, and she was a prosecuting attorney for like 18 years, something like that. So she's not stupid. She knows the law. I don't know why Trump didn't name her to begin with, because she has worked with the Trump organization in the last year or so as well. And I think she'll be good. And she's not going to be the first woman to be the United States Attorney General. The first one was, all right, trivia folks, who remembers who the first female Attorney General was in this country, at least in modern times? You know? Anybody have any idea? 888-808-8637, 601-879-4395. And you can watch us, by the way, at supertalk.fm/Mary. It was Janet Reno. Janet Reno. Remember her? And the attack on those people? Yes, it was the attack on that religious bunch. That was Branch Davidians. Oh, God, how do I remember that? Anyway, she was the first. And then who was the second female United States Attorney General? And that was Loretta Lynch. I think her first name was Loretta, was it? It was Loretta Lynch. And she was the one who happened to be on an airport tarmac one day. And Bill Clinton happened to be on that same tarmac. And they got together in a plane, and they talked about their children and their grandchildren when Hillary was about to be indicted for stuff. But anyway, so Pam Bondi will be the third female Attorney General if you're doing gender politics. Anyway, so that's a good thing. Like I said, get rid of Matt Gaetz, fine. Everything is cool. Everything else can just go. And the media is trying to go after Pete Hegseth with a vengeance, but there were never any charges filed, and blah 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 blah. There's no nothing. It's a nothing burger. There's nothing there, but they want there to be something, and there isn't. Okay, so back home, if you'll remember, I think it was the 16th or so of August, we had on this program a councilman from the city of Jackson. I'm going to double check that date. I'm pretty sure August 16th, and his name is Kenneth Stokes, and he named some names of who he felt were going to be indicted in the FBI sting.
It was Augest 16th because it was my birthday, and I remember telling him that. I was like, "What a great present today was!" Because this was awesome.
Pretty cool. And so he felt that Mayor Lumumba would be indicted, and that Jody Owens would be indicted, and that there would be a city councilman who would be indicted. He didn't say that person's name. Well, Councilman Stokes is back here. And the reaction that we had to that interview, welcome, Mr. Stokes, was pretty incredible. And I was very proud of, in Rankin County on Nextdoor, a couple people over, not just one day, but another time too, posted that interview on Nextdoor. And people were saying things like, that they were from Jackson and they hoped the best for their city, and they congratulated you for being the honest person that you are and naming these people and all that kind of stuff. And I was so proud of them because usually you get a lot of attitude like, I don't live in Jackson anymore. Who wants to live in Jackson? They weren't like that. They were very much in favor of you and supportive of the city to get through that. So what have you heard about not just that interview, but I want to know, what's it like working at City Hall right now with what's going on when you have an indicted mayor, an indicted second city council person, and an indicted DA. How do you get anything done?
I want to say good morning to everyone, and thank you so much for having me back on your show. I get a lot of people complain I won't do this show or that show, to do your show.
You always do my show.
But we go back 1,000 years. And I want to say happy Thanksgiving to everyone out there in Radio Land before I get into the meat of this. And to the family of Mrs. Maple Lee Mason, her funeral's going to be on tomorrow. She helped build Progressive Baptist Church in Jackson, and we want the family to know that we're praying for them. Mm-hmm. Well, the attitude and the atmosphere at City Hall is it's not so good. Some feel, and we're going to say some things on this show that we haven't said, and others going to say, well, I don't agree, and some will. Because of the indictments and because of the situation, some feel that the man should take a leave of absence until this is cleared up. A leave of absence with pay. I know some say he's not guilty, so, why can't he get paid? Well, leave of absence with pay, but, until this is cleared up, this is like a dark cloud over the city. And what you don't want, if you have people that's indicted, where the public will say, well, if they did this one time, while they sitting there, they'll still do something else. So that's how you remove that cloud. Leave of absence with pay. Let the chief administrative officer that we have in the city of Jackson, run the city. Normally that's who's going to run your city anyway. So we can get the confidence of the people back. Where they live in Rankin County, Madison County, wherever they live. If they lived in Jackson, they still consider Jackson as home. And they want the best for the city because it's their hometown. So I believe, I'm not trying to, I haven't negotiated with anybody, I haven't talked to anybody, but I think you'll get from the legislature, from the governor, lieutenant governor, everybody in government will feel a little more comfortable when you start talking about state money and other monies coming to the city, that if you didn't have anybody that's indicted, hands on the money. Again, leave of absence. People take them all the time until this trial and this situation is cleared up.
Do we have? Is there a city law that allows for that, for somebody for like the mayor to take a leave of absence, or would it be you're either the mayor or you're not?
Well, and that's what some say. I think you can find anywhere with the right research a law that will give you that kind of authority. It just takes the right research to make sure it happens. They're going to say that there's no law that will give you that authority, but a lot of people feel that, again, this is a dark cloud on the city where you have allegations of criminal activity. Now, some say that, well, ain't nothing to it and this and that. But, normally when the FBI, U.S. Attorney, federal authorities get involved, then there's something to it. And what I tell people all the time, think about your family. You do not want to send your family to a trial. You do not want all these allegations and all this information to get out here to embarrass and hurt your family. If you don't do anything else, put your family first. And
what kind of an example are you setting for kids who are growing up? You don't want your kids to get in trouble anyway with the law, but when you see somebody allegedly flaunting the law, just look at these people in Pennsylvania, those election people were like, well, we don't care what the law is, we don't agree with the law. Well, no. What kind of an example are you setting when you do this?
Absolutely, because, if you have a situation where some want to follow the law and others do not, then you make younger people growing up saying, to heck with the law.
Exactly. Hey, the law says I can't steal something. Well, I don't care about that. I want to steal something.
I'm going to steal, I'm going to kill, I'm going to rob.
Yeah, I'm going to do that.
And that's why it's so important that you try to get around these gray areas. Let's get everybody on the same page. Our competition, we should be competing against Nashville. One time it was a close race between Jackson and Nashville, and people still go to Nashville. I know Vanderbilt winning more games than they won before the history of Vanderbilt, but it's just Nashville, Houston, Dallas, Memphis. So many southern cities that's doing good, and we supposed to be in the mix, and here we're dealing with, things that should not have happened. that we got to put behind us if we're going to grow. The only way you're going to grow, you got to send the message that we're not going to tolerate criminal activity, period. You can't make excuses for criminal activity. You can't say, well, it's okay for Joe Blow to steal, but it's wrong for Robert Lee to steal. You know, it's wrong for everybody to steal, so don't do it in government. People work hard for these tax dollars. Some people working 2 and 3 and 4 jobs. Some of them get on fixed income, trying to pay these high car tax and trying to pay property taxes and everything else. And then to hear that money is being, you know, changed hands and deals being cut, and you know, it make people think about the garbage contract, you know. And I told people all the time, and I was out front with it, I'm gonna vote for the low bidder every time. That way you don't have any issues about what happened, what's going on. And you know, and I told them, you can look for us back as, you know, when the garbage contract first came up, and I told them I'm gonna vote for again the low bidder. And at that time, I still believe that the records show that Waste Management was a low bidder. And, you know, picking up garbage 2 times a week without the garbage can, it was Waste Management as a low. But picking up 2 times a week with a can would have been Richards. But the people said, we don't want the cans. If we had gone and given the contract to Waste Management in the beginning, we would have saved money that people complaining about on their water bills. The water bill's so high. You know, when I go to the grocery store, I go by myself, and people come to me, black and white, and some of the things they talk about is the water bills and the garbage fee on the water bill, the $40 on the water bill. You know, we had a chance to get it right, and we dropped the ball. Even today, Richards is not the low bidder. It was Bush. And at the meeting, when they voted it in, Bush's son hollered it out. He said, we were the low bidder, but the mayor disqualified her. You know, how you arbitrarily disqualify somebody when that's the responsibility of the council? So, you know, it's in the message that now they probably wondering, well, if the mayor disqualified them to give it to Richards, who wasn't the low bidder, you know, was there some shenanigans there? That's why you got to always follow the law, do the legal thing, whether you like it, don't like it, always give it to the low bidder.
But you, back to the mayor, though, you don't think he should resign. You say take a leave of absence until this is adjudicated, right?
Well, that's how I feel. Now, if you want to say why not resign, this is what I say. Now, personally, just Kenneth Stokes, I say that for your family. You know, if I put my family first, I walk away from all this stuff. You know, I take.
You didn't even go to the famous meeting where they invited city council members, these quote unquote developers who had no business cards, they had they didn't have any perspectives, they had nothing. You know, but some people fell for it. Obviously, by the way, I should tell the audience that we don't have recall of officials in Mississippi. No. And I learned that when we had this guy who was our tax assessor over in Rankin County a couple years ago, who was he had a DUI in Byram, and then he was mixed up with some young girls in his hot tub and all this stuff at his house. But and we don't have recall, and so the only way you can get rid of somebody is either to defeat them or for them not to run. I mean, that's how you get rid of somebody. You've got problems with the mayor, you can't recall him because we don't have that in Mississippi. To get him out of office, you'd either have to get him defeated or he would have to resign. So that's why people say, why don't we recall him? Well, you can't.
And it hurts because if he's going to sit in office, even though you have these charges, then that means the legislature going to do some things to the city that's going to handcuff the city, because they're saying, we can't trust your mayor. That's why you need something where you can say, let him take a leave of absence. Yeah. At that point, the legislature and the governor, lieutenant governor say, well, okay. But if he's sitting here and he got these charges on him, we can't take a chance of this happening. We're going to do this, that, and the other.
And who would be in charge of things? Well, president of city council?
The chief administrative officer. You have a CEO in the city of Jackson. He's already running things. He's already there.
What's his name?
Mr. Wright. He used to work with Energy. Everybody know him. He could talk to people in all segments of government. Was at at the state level, at the federal level, at the local level. He worked with energy probably 20, 30 years or longer. So, it's somebody that people can talk to. And I think that's the number one thing in government, making sure you have somebody that can talk to everyone at every walk of life, an open communication type person.
This is Kenneth Stokes, folks. He is Ward 3 City Councilman for the City of Jackson. He's at 888-808-8637. You can text him at 601-879-4395. That's 601-879-4395. And you can watch us because we're streaming live supertalk.fm/Mary to see what's going on. So
we're going to talk about the hard things now.
Oh, yeah, really. Let's see.
We're ready.
Let's see. Well, there are a few hard things.
Sonaris Moore.
Who's that?
Sonaris Moore was the one that they testified against Marshawn Chrysler.
Oh.
But Sonaris Moore supposed to be in the dope boy for the mayor.
Oh.
We said stop smoking that dope. Sonaris Moore had upper level. The nightclub and everything. And people out here who know what's going on in these areas, they know these names. And you got people who are experts in keeping up with how everything is going, who doing what. A lot of people trust and listen to Kingfish. Kingfish, he very seldom miss what's going on.
Oh, you think, Kingfish, he
be on Otha Kane. They are good. They know what's going on. They talking to people in every walk of life. And Malcolm Johnson. It's important because some people are saying earlier this week they thought that Hondo and Dr. O'Mara and Councilman Grizel, that it was just rumored they were supposed to have been indicted. Now, nothing happened. That don't mean it's true. I didn't get that from
that was going to be my
Kingfish and none of those.
Who could be next?
Oh, yeah, it's going to be others.
Some people are going to be next.
You got nonprofit. It's nonprofit money missing out here. That people are concerned about. What happened to the $1 million that Keisha Sanders had?
And hold on to that thought. Keisha Sanders, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back. It's Kenneth Stokes here on Mary Wieden You. You are listening to Mary Wieden You. Glad to have you along with us this morning. Got Kenneth Stokes here in the studio with us, Ward 3 Jackson City Councilman, talking about what's going on and who's doing these things and so on. And when we went out, we were talking about a woman named Keisha Sanders.
Yes.
What is the deal with her?
Well, Keisha Sanders, to my idea, had a lot of knowledge about what was taking place illegally, especially dealing with grant money. Cities get a lot of grant money coming in, and part of the dismissal of Keisha Sanders was that when the virus was in, you had money for the virus came from the federal government.
You're talking about COVID.
Yeah, mm-hmm. And Keisha was supposed to oversee it, and companies. What I understand, one company got over $1 million, and that's what I'm saying. But the other company was doing the work, and I'm saying, where the $1 million? The city need money for streets, and lady keep calling about in South Jackson. They can't even go visit their loved one in the cemetery, overgrown right-of-ways and all of that kind of nonsense. But if $1 million was taken, then how many more millions?
What was the city supposed to do with that money?
Well, it was
that sort of
supposed to be used for COVID, and that's how the FBI got in, because the city took the position, we pay for it, our city money, it's not a federal question. But the money was going to come in from the federal government, and they ought to reimburse you or something. But, again, thievery is thievery. And you don't need thieves in government.
Well, you've talked about that on the show, that there's millions missing, and you don't know. You couldn't see the books as a councilman, right? But now, if the mayor takes a leave of absence and you've got somebody else in charge, your administrative guy, I would think that you could get that information from him. If you can't get it from the mayor, you get it from somebody, because you're council people. You need to know. Yeah,
because you vote on information. You vote on items that you don't see information ahead of time. Even if you look at the garbage contract, for weeks and months, Councilman Foote kept asking for a copy of the RFP so we could see what's in there. Never did get it. Then the day we supposed to vote on it, minutes before the vote, they gonna give you a copy of the RFP, And that's how we found out that everybody who bid on it was one bidder. They threw everybody out, and he ended up with riches again.
RFP stands for request for
proposals.
For proposals.
Mm-hmm. So in government, you got to have government open for the public. That way people would trust government. But if it's closed and backroom deals taking place, people saying my tax money is being used for fraud and other kind of things. So, I think that Keisha Sanders may have given a lot of information to the federal government, but somebody need to get the city of Jackson some of our money back.
She's not. She got fired.
Well, she's been gone from city. She was the first one to plead guilty.
In regard to this one?
Yeah, with everything at the city. Part of it going to come through the information that Keisha Sanders gave, to the federal government. Now, she had 2 items that she was supposed to pay back, and she paid back one item, which may have been 30-something thousand, but what about the million? The city would have had $1 million, then the 30-something. We didn't get part of the 30-something thousand. So you still got other items, and like I said, the garbage contract that people concerned about, the nonprofit money that's coming into the city to help. That money is being steered away.
What nonprofit money for
all different nonprofits? For
various nonprofits
to help the city.
Is that grant money?
Yeah, grant money. All of that. Most of your grant money is going to be like nonprofit. You got nonprofit money that's going to nonprofit agencies, companies that's supposed to be used to help the city, but they going to friends. So how you supposed how you supposed to have people helping people, but yet when the money come, it go to a friend, and this friend not helping anybody. So you caught in a situation where they'll tell you we're gonna help you, but the money's still to companies that got other friends of friends who getting paid big salaries, but they don't use the money for what the money was supposed to be used for.
You would also be able to find, by the way, because we talked about this before, you would also be able to find how many employees the city has and what their salaries are.
Absolutely.
Because there will be some mighty high ones, I'm sure. Some mighty high ones, and would probably be shocked at what they are, and then others that ain't so high. Yeah. Although, by the way, I was pleased the last time Chief Wade was here, JPD, the starting salary for JPD's officers now is $50,000 a year, which is pretty good.
Well, he's a great man now, and this your show, and we
he comes on the show. We like him.
Well, I told him he ought to run for mayor, and let me tell you why. You want somebody who can continue the progress of trying to reduce crime. You don't want to live in a city that you're afraid to come outside. You don't want to live in a city where you're afraid to go to the store. You're afraid you're going to get robbed, raped, or killed. You don't want that for your city. So, with Chief Wade, and I told him again last night, if he become the mayor, he can continue fighting against crime and everything else. Someone else become mayor, one of the first things they're going to do is get rid of the police chief.
That's just it.
And
exactly.
bring their own chief in.
Exactly.
Then we starting back at zero, where we got to build this and all of that. Let's start with Linda Maple. Let's get our police force up to around 500. Number one, let's make people feel safe in your city first. Then you start, if you have enough money left over, if you want to do concerts and all that kind of stuff. But safety got to be the number one issue. People must feel safe, and they must be safe if you're in this city. You don't want to bring your children or your wife into a city and then they don't make it back home. Somebody done killed them over nonsense.
You want to know something else that's really scary? It's one thing to think of your own people as the bad guys, but I've seen a couple stories this week where this god-awful bunch out of Venezuela, Tren de Aragua, you ever heard of them? TDA, they're called Tren de Aragua. They are in Louisiana, and they're in Arkansas, and they're in Tennessee, and I think Alabama as well. They're not in Mississippi yet. That's the scary part. And then combine that with the fact that the state auditor did a report a couple months ago. There are some 20,000 plus illegal aliens. Who knows where they are? We don't know where they are. Or how they got here. And we're paying about over $100 million a year as taxpayers to support these people. But, the last thing Jackson needs is Trinidad Aragua. I'll tell you what, they're really, even gang bangers up in Chicago, I saw an interview with them, they're like, hey, these people are coming in here in our territory. The disciples and all those people, they're all,
they're killers.
The disciples of our people are like kindergartens.
That's what I'm saying. But they're here because on my street, they have these, we call them Winnebagos, but motor homes. They'll go get a little house, they'll park it in there. You don't know who they are. You just see the Hispanics every once in a while. A lady told me over in Valley North, they just park in front of her house and do what they want to, and they're afraid. They've been there for years and years. So, there's some truth to the field that's going on, and that's what you have to do. You want to make sure that your citizens are safe. They don't need to be afraid that they're going to get killed just trying to go to the drugstore to get their medicine.
And I know I said the other day when the chief, Wade, he was doing a news conference about a body found or whatever, and it was like the 90-something murder of the year, and I said he's apoplectic with that. Yeah. I mean, it's just, but he's doing a good job. It's hard. Well, it's a hard job, but you're right about coming to think of it. What did he think about running for mayor? Did he say he didn't want to do it, or your son?
That's why. Well, I can't.
I know you
my
can't.
family
Your
won't
son,
let me.
ooh.
My son said, "Daddy, it'll kill you." He said, "Daddy, you'll win, but it'll kill you."
Yeah.
So I asked a little kid at Callaway about a week ago. He said, "Well," I said, "What about if I run for mayor?" He said, "I don't know, Mr. Stokes." I said, "Do you think it'll kill me?" He said, 9 times out of 10. I said, "What?"
Well, that's a long statistic.
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay. That settles that.
So, I think my family friends, used to be one of my lawyers, Harvey Freeland, when I told him, I said, I was thinking about running for mayor. He pointed to my neck. I wanted to cuss him out. Because, sometimes you forget, some time ago, a few years ago, I had Bell palsy. They were cutting off the people water. These older people weren't having water. They had them going from one meeting to another meeting and talking to them like dogs. And it got to me, and old people call Bell palsy a light stroke. That's what we used to call
that's
it.
What it is. Okay.
And, young people start saying some, different kind of terminology. But I'm from the old school, so I had a light stroke, I think, because the way they were treating the senior citizens on this water. And, during the commercial, we were talking about the water situation. Yeah. You got water now. Everybody deserves water, good, clean water.
Yes, you do. And do you feel that that it would be best left in their hands, of the feds, or do you want them to return it to the control of the city?
Well, the feds can't keep it by law. When we were fighting to get them in, because under the Clean Drinking Water Act, the state could have come in and could have taken it over, but the feds came in because the state did not move on it. The state was working on the plant. They were saying maintenance wasn't there and this and that. I think with different leadership in the city, because you had people like Dr. Williams who wanted to do the right thing, but when you're trying to do the right thing and you got other people in the other people's ear.
I remember him. He followed Robert Miller.
Robert Miller was good to my eyes. We still call him Matt Miller, how he used to go to the community meetings and talk to people, work with people. Well, other people are looking at making money. They're not looking at what's good for the city. So these people that's hard-working city employees, they're not going to let you put them in a bad situation where they telling you, let's do this, we can do that, let's spend money on this, and we can fix that, and they won't do it. So they're not going to stay there and be blamed for what decisions the mayor and his cronies are making, but yet they point the finger at them. So they left. A lot of people end up leaving the city. We finally got the water. where it's better. I'm not saying it's 100%. I know some people, and we don't like that the $50, $40 on there and everything. You know, we still have a number of people not paying the water bill. Now, a number of people, they still not getting the water bill. A number of people not paying it. So that's what Finland is trying to say, that we had to do this $40 to make up for the people who not paying till we can get everything straight. The key thing I'm saying is this. At least we got water.
At least you got water. And let's go take another break here.
Okay.
We'll be back in just a couple minutes on Mary Wieden You with Kenneth Stokes. We go on our last segment with Councilman Kenneth Stokes, Ward 3, talking about the city. Well, you know, I've started off, I wanted to ask you, you know, what is it like to work at City Hall these days? Pretty tough. And so, but Councilman Banks was indicted. That was the third person. You didn't name him because it wasn't the time to name him when you were here in August. That's the time, folks. If you missed the show, he named the mayor and he named the DA as likely to be indicted by the feds. And there was a city councilman, and it turned out to be Aaron Banks. Now, what about him? Does he come to meetings and stuff like that?
He still participate. I think Councilman Banks, from his family, great family, preachers and everything else. Sometimes in government, you be around the wrong people, and if you're around the wrong people, you start doing the wrong things, and I think that's what caught him up. I think Lee at one time was very upset because she felt Banks set her up. And when I say set you up, that means they get you around the wrong people and those kind of things.
And then they get sort of romanced by him. Not, you know, that's a broad sense of the term, where it's like, hey, well, you know, you can do this. And it'll be okay. It's all right.
It don't nothing happen to you, and nothing happened to the mayor, and they've been doing that, and you start going for the game. You start feeling that it's okay to do wrong. No, it's not okay to do wrong. If you want to do wrong, get out of government. Government is not the place to do wrong. And some people feel it's a young man named Hundo that's supposed to have been a friend of the mayor's father. And they blame Hundo for allowing the mayor to go the wrong direction. You know, if the father was here, none of this would have happened. The father would have kept his son straight and made sure that the people who was around him, whether the dope boys, with smoking the dope at the upper level or at the nightclubs, that wouldn't have happened. Well, they saying how Hundo take the mayor into these situations with dope boys and the criminal elements unless you were getting something out the deal. You supposed to be protecting the mayor's son.
Well, the mayor's not stupid. He's not a stupid guy.
Got a JD.
I mean,
and ain't no way he don't know better. You're exactly right.
Yeah.
He know better. He knew better. He know better. He's seen this stuff before. He shouldn't have gone for the okie doke, as they call it in my neighborhood.
And now he's got these lawyers from Detroit.
They got the other man, 30 years? That's what they have. You going to go get a lawyer, get somebody else, another man, 30, 35 years?
I was looking up one of them. I never got to look up the other one, but the first one, I can't remember his name. He has a middle initial L. I was looking him up, you know, just trying to check him out, trying to find out what's the deal on that guy. But it's the other one who's just two names, doesn't have a middle initial, who's apparently the bad guy. Like, why do you have to go to Detroit? Don't we have any good lawyers down here?
Yeah, you got plenty. Well, you know, this is what I told them. For who listen to my advice, I say, number one, you don't want to send your family through this. Number two, you really need to take a deal, take a plea, get out the way. 5 years is better than 35. And if you think these lawyers so good, tell the lawyer, look, after I'm found innocent, I'm going to pay you double the amount you charging. After I'm found innocent. That lawyer going to tell you crazy. Because the lawyer know 9 times out of 10 you're not finna be found innocent. And they're going to make sure they paid up front. They ain't going to wait for you to get convicted, locked up, because they know you ain't going to pay them then.
Yeah, really.
You see what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So if you believe in these lawyers so much that you think they're going to beat the United States of America, tell those lawyers, let's wait for me to pay you. and see what that lawyer say.
You think he's told that you think it's going to end up in a police situation? Nobody's going to go on trial.
Well, some advisors, if he start listening, gonna let him know, look, bro, this is not a winnable situation. And the rule is, if you go to trial, we're gonna give you the max. If you take a plea, then we do a deal. Now, that don't do like Chrysler. Go to trial, get found guilty, and then say, what kind of deal can I get? So they saying Chrysler telling on anybody he can tell something on. You know, word has it that some of the people have been looking at the gentleman over the NAACP nationally. Some people trying to throw his name in there, trying to cut deals. They don't want to go to the penitentiary, number one. And for those who got money, a man like P. Diddy and others, when you're locked up, you can't spend your money. You got to get what they call in the penitentiary a wall daddy. A wall daddy to protect you from having to wash dirty drawers. So the issue is this. If the man going to survive this, he need to think about his family and think about cutting the deal. Don't go into court thinking you're going to say it's race when they're going to say, no, bro, this not race. This thievery. Somebody got caught with their hand in a cookie jar. And don't go in there gambling on your life because you see a number of blacks on the jury that you can look pretty and think you're a pretty boy, and they're going to find you innocent when the evidence is going to show you guilty. They got film, they got audio. The federal government do not play. They have enough evidence to convict you. And everybody who know that they got the evidence. Now, if you think you can say, like what maybe was done in 1950, that it was raised and they just doing this to me because I'm black, people ain't going for that in 2024, look, bro.
You're right.
That's something from 1950. It's gone. And some of the same people that got evidence on you are blacker than you.
And when you think about Jody Owens, similar, and Banks too, take pleas. Better to do it and do it that way.
Get out the way. Yeah. Move on. Let the city try to heal. And bring people on who are trustworthy. Don't think the federal government, that's their responsibility to come here. The state could have done it. You have to clean up these kind of situations all over the country. Otherwise, it's going to collapse your government. Democracy will collapse because of thievery. You can't allow that to happen. Democracy is the best form of government in the world as long as you get these bad actors out the way, ones who feel that they're entitled to deals. We're not going to go with the low bidder. We're going to go with my friend. And my friend going to give me some money on the back end of that deal.
Some places, I think some big cities, well, Chicago's one, Boston, Detroit, a lot of these other ones, they succeed in spite of this kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. But here, you fail because of that stuff. You're not Detroit. You don't want to be that. Mm-mm. You don't want to be Chicago. You don't want that. Mm-mm. Anyway, anybody who does want us to be like that is definitely not the person for the job. And I say, get it cleaned up now. Yeah. And then start to build, right?
Yeah, because people work hard for their money. Some mothers working 2 and 3 jobs.
Yeah.
Just to try to make ends meet, and here you are stealing the money and doing all this, and you living this lifestyle, going getting Porsches and living in East Dover, and these parents going to sleep when they get off one job, they got to go to another, they bury some, see their children, and they trying to do it the right way, the American way, and you doing it the wrong way, the thievery way.
Do you think that more people on city council or more people employed by the city are going to get rounded up in this, or do you think they've moved on? They haven't moved on to the adjudication part?
A lot of them going to get in it because a lot of them, they come in with unclean hands. They got dirty hands, and, they may not have got money directly, but they was part of the overall conspiracy.
They would be employees, not elected officials, obviously.
You can probably get both elected officials.
Who could it be? Other members of city council, do you think?
Well, like I said, they rumored this week some of these people that Grizel was supposed to be indicted. Some say that it's not indictable because he was voting on with the man on so much. They say it was other issues concerning schools. But like I said, you got some hardworking people out here who keep up what's going on. I drop names again: Kingfish, Otha Kane, Malcolm Johnson. They know. They talk to a lot of people, and they know what's going on. One thing about government is that it's important. It's important that you don't cross these lines. You can be friends without being criminals. Don't let somebody come to you as a friend and then have you doing criminal activity.
Rope you in. It'll be easy. Let's do this. That kind of stuff, that's what you get.
Yeah, Lee was the sweetest person. Ain't no way she needed the money. Yeah. Angelique Lee, she didn't need money. She was a sweet, good person. They just put that rock star mentality on her, and next thing you know, she going for the okie doke.
And she needed money for her campaign. Right?
Well, they say that to pay off because some of the debts that people forgive, but her family has money. Her family got some of that old money, as you call it. Again, I want to tell everybody happy Thanksgiving, and the Maple Lee Mason family. Miss Mason passed, and to the family, we're praying for you. Thank y'all again for giving me a chance to come on your show. And I see so many people at the grocery store that don't mind stopping me, and I don't mind being stopped.
A
lot of people listen to your show.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That's a good promo.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you, too. And everybody listen, have a good weekend, and I'll see you next week.